Hi, my name is Geert Van Gele, and in this video I like to give some information on how to get to a second stage of advanced sound production on the recorder. This video is part of a series that accompany the iBook Thoughts on the Recorder, which is available through my web shop kattenbergrecordings.be. You can find a link in the description, and I've also included a clickable link at the end of this video if you want to learn more about it. We have arrived at the second stage of advanced sound production. I do want to state that it is perfectly possible to achieve professional level playing by mastering stage 1 only. This stage 2 is a sound technique that I acquired while studying in Ghent Conservatory with Marcel Ketels. He learned his technique from his teacher Oswald van Almen. If you consider skipping stage 1 of the sound production and starting immediately with stage 2, I would strongly advise against it. One needs very good control over both breathing and general sound production, and stage 1 is a perfect companion to make this happen. Stage 2 technique focuses on finding resonances in the sound and exploring this further. Start by playing a very soft long note in the middle register, for instance EFG with alto fingerings. These notes are the most flexible of the whole instrument, the most pliable. And by playing really softly, we can scan the sound for the resonance frequency. Keep playing different soft sounds on the same note. You are listening for a faint sine wave-like sound that is an octave higher than the perceived sounding note. And this is actually the real pitch of the instrument. To clarify further, a sine wave sound is a sound that has no harmonics or overtones. We are probably all familiar with the effect of a microphone that starts producing a feedback sound when being held too close to the speaker that it's connected to. Another sine wave sound example is produced when rubbing a wet finger on the edge of a crystal glass. Both are beautiful examples of resonance frequencies producing sine wave sounds. The moment we have detected the faint sine wave, start singing internally together with this sound in order to coax it into growing. Be very gentle when you start feeding it now. Add only the slightest amount of energy, breath pressure, and motivate this sine wave resonance into getting louder. You might think about how you would blow when you kindle a fire. By blowing softly with a focused breath, you will succeed into growing the little flame. If you blow too hard in the beginning, the little flame will just suffocate. You will soon experience that the resonance frequency will start to open up little by little. It's important to realize that your recorder is not giving this resonance frequency a free ride. It's just not willing to give up its former state that easily. Recorders like to be lethargic, and it's up to you to work the instrument. Look at it as playing in your instrument. Actually, your instrument will react in a similar way as when you would be playing it in, when adapting to this new way of sound production. When you now start feeding the sine wave more, or the resonance frequency if you prefer the name, by adding the slightest amounts of breath pressure, you will encounter a bigger obstacle. The sine wave is not growing anymore, and there is quite some noise and rolling, gritty sounds noticeable. Even by going back and forth, starting from the softest sound, it is not going to help the resonance into getting bigger anymore. We need more drastic measures. At this point, it's necessary to be more stern. It's time to let the instrument know who's in charge. But please be considerate. If you are going to be too overpowering, the recorder will freak out and lock up to you, resulting in excess noise production. Not the way to go. The idea is that you want the recorder to open up, creating a purer sound with less dirt in it and unwanted noise. In order to prevent the recorder from working against you, you may give it some strong signals. For a second or two, try to give it a push with your breath pressure in order to create some space for the resonance to open up more. After having given this push, go back to softer sounds and start feeding the resonance again in the former gentle way. Another tool you have at your disposal is the use of both vibrato and shadings. By utilizing these, sometimes in combination with a push, you can create some more space for the resonance. Vibrato and shadings will approach the sound in a different way. It will provide a look from a different angle, so to speak, nudging it to open up more. When working with the resonance in the louder range of the sound, it often feels to me like dealing with bushes or shrubs, which are resembling the noise and unwanted transient overtones, which need to be cleared out of the way. I have to push them aside, first by prying gently and sometimes pushing with more conviction. If they are stubborn, I always check the path, which is the resonance sine wave frequency. I check the path afterwards to see if it got any wider. And by going back and forth on it, starting very softly, the path will become cleaner and wider. The sound can become huge in this way. Of course, Your tuning will be way off the scale when you produce a huge resonance, but these sounds will still be very usable when the right amount of shading is applied, keeping them where they belong tuning-wise. On the other end of the scale, the very softest notes can also be kept in tune by pulling away fingers from the recorder. The most important result is that your sound now is as open as possible, as rich as possible, and as flexible as possible. Please be very considerate of your recorder. Always check your instrument that you are not hurting it. If the sound is good, then you are on the right track. If it starts to become more hissy, you are doing something wrong. Back off a bit and start from soft notes again. If all has evolved as foreseen, you are now ready to move on to another note. Actually, just as with playing in a recorder, normally as described in video 4, it is a good idea to work on different notes in one playing session, even if they are situated in different registers. It's also a good idea to simultaneously work on notes situated in the immediate surroundings of the focused note, as close as a semitone apart. Opening up sounds from close-by notes and notes in different registers will help the instrument cope with the changes more easily. When done right, the apparent noise and gritty sounds will become part of the new resonance frequency. An octave higher than you might expect, remember? This doesn't mean that there will be only a characterless sine wave sound left in your recorder, by far not. The resonance sine wave adds fullness, strength and body to the color of your instrument, but your instrument will still sound like a recorder, if this can take away some of your worries. That's all for now. This is the last video connected to the second chapter of my iBook, Thoughts on the Recorder. If you follow the link, you can watch the first video of the third chapter. The third chapter is totally devoted to interpreting the different styles of the recorder repertoire, starting with the interpretation of Italian and German high Baroque music. Thanks for watching and have a great day.